Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, councillors. Welcome to the special meeting of the Toowoomba Regional Council for the 17th of May 2023. This meeting is open to the public and will be also live streamed. I'd like to thank those of you in the room today and acknowledge everyone watching via council social media channels. I acknowledge the portfolio leader, Councillor Carl, councillors, the CEO, Mr Brian Pidgeon, and the General Manager of Planning and Development Group, Dr Nicola Stepanoff. I acknowledge the Aboriginal parties whose songlines traverse these lands we meet on today, the Western Waka Waka, Guyabal and Jarawar peoples, and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the knowledge, the rich traditions and bold ambitions of Australia's First Peoples. Item number 2, councillors, is attendance, including apologies, leave of absence, granting of leaves of absence, declarations of conflict of interest. We have 2 apologies, one from the Mayor Paul Antonio, and I need a resolution to accept his apology. Councillor McDonald, seconded to Councillor McMahon. All those in favour? And the second one is for Councillor Rebecca Von Hoff. Can I have someone move a resolution for her apology? Councillor McDonald again and Councillor O'Shea. All those in favour? It's carried. We have 1 or 2 leaves of absence, Councillor Melissa Taylor and Councillor Nancy Summerfield. We don't have any granting of leave of absences nor declarations of declarable conflict of interest. Item number 3 is the suspension and reinstatement, suspension of standing orders for item number 4. So can I have someone move that we suspend standing orders? Councillor Carol Taylor and Councillor James O'Shea. All those in favour? Thank you. Item number 4 is the reason we're here today, and it's the assessment of a change of application for material change of use. We have our senior planner, Hayley O'Brien, is going to be the officer presenting today. Thank you, Hayley.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, councillors. This is an application for an other change for MCUI 2009-6574C and RAL 2009-6575B. It's for the Entertainment and Function Centre, known as Gavin Bar Homestead, at 344 and 376 Ramsay Street, Middleridge. This application is actually subject to the site that is just 344 Ramsay Street, Middleridge. The property is a low-density residential zone in the general precinct, and it has frontages to Ramsay Street and Nelson Street. The key changes that you'll be looking at today is the change from 120 patrons to 200 patrons, extended hours of operation, and additional car parking to accommodate the additional patrons. Public notification was undertaken for this application prior to August 2021, and there was no submissions. The key considerations is around the potential noise impact and then the amenity issues of the site. And Council Senior Environmental Officer Luke Jackson is also here today to speak to the noise matters that have been assessed. Thank you.
Okay, questions for the officer? Hayley, I wanted to, I know it's in the report there, tell me about how, with the extended hours of operation, with the noise component, how that's going to be, because there was quite stringent controls last time, wasn't there?
So as you'll see in the report, there is a range of approvals over this site. There's essentially a 2009 stream of approvals and 2016. So they are best described as layers of approvals as Gavin Bar has developed and grown and things and different elements. The last approval, a number of conditions were put in place due to some concerns and around the modelling that was done at the time. This application has taken on a noise impact and a noise management plan which has addressed a number of those issues. So that's where council has become more comfortable with essentially allowing the expansion of the operations on site. Luke Jackson may also like to speak to the actual noise impact assessment. Council also had a technical, peer review consultants as well, which has supported the assessment that Council's undertaken.
Just run me through some things. It's like having the speakers all sort of in a certain direction and things, isn't it? Yeah?
Luke, would you like to come up to, please, to speak to those? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We did have a quite extensive, and I'm sure our developer friends would very much attest, a comprehensive noise assessment done for this one. We wanted to have that level of confidence that every aspect of noise was considered, and the final noise report that we were comfortable with was conservative in nature, and to some degree provided assurance that on what was being proposed as a 7-day operation up until midnight, that the noise levels were going to be very comfortably at or below the compliance limits that we have the ability to impose. So the information that went back and forward, we now have an endorsed noise report which provides a very thorough number of noise sources around the property. We have locations for speakers where speakers can be set up. We've got set noise limits for those speakers. We've got set numbers of patrons that can occur in particular areas at particular times. We have conditions within, or recommendations, and within the noise management plan, separate document for how to control noise and monitor noise during different stages of development. Through the peer review, we checked the noise sources, the number of sources, the sound power related to those sources relative to the activities that were occurring. So in conclusion, we are comfortable with the noise levels that are now going to be produced from the site and how that may impact, and in this case, should not impact on the sensitive receptors nearby.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Luke. Thank you very much. Any other questions for the officers? Councillor Shine?
Not in relation to noise, though. Just in relation to the comment about trees, just refer to 113 of your books, which is page 4 of the executive summary. Yeah. The fourth paragraph there refers to the proposed works are at the perimeter and outside of the mapped habitat and vegetation areas, and then goes on. Just could you explain whether the net effect of that paragraph indicates that there are no significant detrimental effects of trees that should be protected or preserved?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. The only additional build areas as such is the new car parking as shown on the plans. The remainder of the site will stay as is. Obviously, as Gavanbar is a state heritage place, there are a boulevard of trees that are part of the state listing. This application did also go to SARA, and they would have undertaken that assessment, and that no of those trees are being affected. The trees on the site that are overseen by council, where they're in an overlay or as part of approved landscaping works, none of those are being impacted at all. So if anything, there is additional landscaping that is going in around the new car parking areas as part of protecting and enhancing the heritage, the significance of the Gavanbar Homestead and Function Centre. Thank you.
Councillor Khan?
Thanks, Chair. So mine was around vegetation too. 143 of on-board books, attachment 6, page 2, and there's the veg management overlays, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's Cat C or R, that category C or R, endangered regional ecosystems. And there's a hashed area over that essential habitat on essential habitat map. Are they in fact accurate, or are you, I guess, other accurate one? Question 2 is, and you're confident that if there is some of that remaining, and I don't know, that it's being sufficiently dealt with. I mean, I've read through the vegetation management measures they're taking, which was quite clearly mapped out.
Yes. The map you're referring to is a regional ecosystem map, and that shade of pink will be category A or B, which is an endangered regional ecosystem, on site with a overlay of essential habitat. In this area here, that's for koalas. The vegetation that is under that mapping doesn't translate to council's overlays specifically. And in terms of council's overlays, we didn't perceive there to be any matters that we needed to see addressed. If vegetation under that overlay was to be cleared, then it would relate to provisions within Schedule 10 of the planning reg and be referred to SARA if they applied. Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that that did not need to be referred. It's urban area, urban growth, it's under a minimum lot size, and so I don't believe that it would have needed to been referred if vegetation was to be cleared. It was referred to SARA, and SARA do typically do a little spot check anyway. Not trying to speak on their behalf, but I do know that they do just double check things, and if it was an issue, then SARA would have likely have brought that up as well.
Thanks, Chair.
No further questions for the officers? Thank you. We don't have anyone, any submitters today. So, if there's no further questions, I'm going to reinstate standing orders is what I'm going to do. Can I have someone move that we reinstate standing orders? Councillor James O'Shea and Councillor Carl. All those in favour? Okay, so the recommendation is that Council approve the change application regarding development approval for material change of use, entertainment function centre and RAL 1:2 lot subdivision pursuant to the provisions of Section 82 of the Planning Act 2016 and subject to the conditions in Attachment 3. Can I have someone move that recommendation, please? Councillor Carl, seconded by Councillor McMahon. All those in favour? It's carried unanimously. And that's the end of the meeting, 2:15. Thanks very much, Hayley. Well done for your first presentation at council. Thank you. Thank you, Wendy.